Lights 1, go.
Standby, lights 2 through 6, video 1 and 2, screen in, and sound 10.
House out. Lights 2 and curtain, go.
Lights 3 and video 1, go.
Lights 4 and video 2, go.
Lights 5, sound 10, video 3, go.
Singing,
the waitress singing, the mail worker singing, the manager singing,
the fireman singing,
each one singing, the teacher,
the trucker, the hooker,
the housewife. I hear
America singing, America singing.
Every load is a challenge. Finally offloading it.
Pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down.
I feel like Carmen in a way, like a gypsy, you know? I like flying, and I like people.
Hey somebody, don't you wanna hear the story of my life? One of them movie companies, TV documentaries. Won't you come and ask me, please? And pay me $1 million to tell you what I do at the store. Cause if you pay me $1 million, I wouldn't have to go and do it no more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Just like the song said, all the live long day. Everybody done know that song. Working for a living the whole day long, all the live long day. Hey somebody, won't you turn your head? Take a look my way.
I'm getting old and I tell you,
getting old ain't nothing new. Suck again if you know who. Me and my old pal Monday, no rain or shine, it'll be showing. Me and my old pal Monday, and another cup of coffee, get the juices flowing. Another cup of coffee, get the juices flowing. Another cup of coffee, get the juices flowing. 1, 2, 3, get going. Just like the song say, all the live long day. Everybody done know that song. Working for a living the whole day long, all the live long.
just like the song say now.
All the live long day.
Just like the song
Just like the song say now. All the live long day. Just like the song say now. All the live long day.
Just like the song
Just like the song say now. All the live long day. Everybody done know that song. Working and living the whole day long, all the live long day.
I'm a dying breed, a laborer, strictly muscle work. Pick it up, put it down. Pick it up, put it down. Pick it up, put it down. Typically in the morning, you wait outside the shanty until 7 o'clock. You go in at 7 and start walking your way up the ladder, climbing up the steel. You plank it off every 2 floors. Then you disconnect the bottom of the mast and tie it to the boom on top of the choking cable. Then you do the same thing and pick up the other side. I've been working structural steel since I was 18 years old. I've worked on towers probably 1,000 feet high. Most people are afraid of heights like that, so automatically every iron worker has an ego. You're doing something somebody else can't do, and you get to wear a tool belt. And when you're a kid, 18 years old, And you've got wrenches in like a holster? You're like a cowboy. Well, I always knew I was going to be an iron worker. My older brothers were iron workers. My father was an iron worker. So it was the natural course of events. My father was very disappointed I didn't go to college. We had a college boy at work this summer. One time he saw a book in my back pocket and he was amazed. He says to me, "You read?" That's what can get to you. The non-recognition by other people. To say a man is just a laborer or a woman is just a waitress, it bothers you sometimes. Well, some mornings I look across the skyline, looking for a building I worked on. Oh, that office building. See that building over there? I helped build it. And I know there's some guy sitting in his corner office behind his $5,000 desk. And yeah, he doesn't think about me. But I think about him sometimes.
Amanda, where in the hell is that P&L report?
It's on your desk.
Well, why wasn't it in my hand?
I'm a project manager. I'm here at work at 7:30 a.m. I leave at 8 p.m. In between my meetings, I answer messages and email and try to avoid my boss. You always have a boss. Sometimes you have an okay boss, and sometimes you have a Satan boss. He's not behind me, is he? I wish these walls were like a little higher. I've been in all types of different cubicles. I've been in the tall cubes, the half-height cubes. Listen, the way things are these days, I'm glad to be in any cubicle at all. I have friends who would kill for this job, for any job.
I paper the walls of my cubicle with posters, bring in fresh flowers, brought in my favorite ceramic lamp. This little collection of things I have on top of my computer, I call them computer gods. I guess I have more decorations than I thought. But you know, in a cubicle, things like glow-in-the-dark skeletons go a long way.
Sharing a cubicle is sort of like sharing a bathroom stall. It doesn't matter how tall the sides are or how big it is. You're still in there with someone else in a not sexy way. I can see the programmer in the cubicle next to me through the reflection in the window. Sometimes I can see her reflection and see what she's doing. Quite often, she's emailing jokes to her sister. I also acquired a webcam. So I set it up so it points behind me, and there's a little window on my computer that's the webcam picture. And if somebody walks behind me, I can see them.
I grew up expecting that I would get out of college and make $1 million. I grew up expecting that someone would just deliver a Mercedes to my front door. It's been quite a rude awakening. It's the first time in 4 generations that I have it worse than my parents.
Jobs are not big enough for people. When you ask most people who they are, they define themselves by their jobs. I'm a doctor, I'm a carpenter, I'm a sportscaster. When people ask me, I say, I'm Amanda McKenney. At some points in time, I do things for a living. My mentality is totally different than the people who are 20 years older, the lifers. I have no real sense of loyalty because I know that they have a business to run and they'll lay me off if it's prudent. I accept that. I don't perceive that anyone my age thinks I've got a job for life. What they feel is I am going to get as much as I can out of this company, and then I am going to move and make more money.
This is my first job. I smell like a burger. The register is easy. Hey, you want a burger? I hit the picture of the burger. every day the same old thing. Hello, chicken nugget, quarter pounder. And I wait for that phone to ring, that phone to ring. The phone at the end of the counter. When I see the manager writing down an order. When I see the manager making change. When I see the manager writing an address, I whisper, yes, give me some change and send me on my way. Okay, I'm off on a delivery and I'm finally on my own. Off on a delivery, peace, and I'm headed for parts unknown. Off on a delivery, fresh air and exercise, and sometimes I throw in some extra fries. Calling in today, my world is great until they send me away on a delivery, and the wind is in my hair. Off on a delivery, no one's watching me, I can wander anywhere. Food is getting cold, so all I do as I've been told. Responsibility, I have responsibilities. See, my father sits at home, he doesn't work anymore. And my mother works a double shift at the department store. And it's nice not having to ask for money, and it's nice not having to ask for dinner, and it's nice on nights when you have to get away. I go to work every day, I'm putting money away. Hey, you know what they say, slow and steady. I'm making minimum wage, that's pretty good for my age. If I can manage to say, oh, you ready to go? Wherever I'm gonna go, wherever destiny leads me. But now the restaurant feeds me and my family needs me. Delivery, yes! The customer's always right. Delivery, thanks for getting me out of the house tonight. I keep the order straight and I say sorry if I'm late. You're late. Some extra napkins for your plate for making you wait. That'll be $12.98 for your delivery. I can wander out of range. Here's my delivery, towards the future new and strange. Here's my delivery. Thought it's just a start, but wait, I haven't told you my favorite part. It's when they pay, and then they say,
Screw it, keep the change.
keep the change, keep the change, keep the change, keep the change, and bit by bit I'll keep the change. I save a little every day. Thank God for delivery.
I'm a guy who likes to work. Some people enjoy tennis. I enjoy work. I enjoy being a leader. I enjoy being the guy that everyone looks up to. I enjoy having a team of people that work for me. In this world of money, money management is the sexiest job there is. Ask any girl at the East Bank Club. Money is hot. Now let me tell you a true story. There was a study that showed that just looking at a Maserati made a girl produce double the amount of hormones as normal. So if someone wanted to call me a corporate tool, a shallow douchebag, a frickin' robber baron, I'd take that as a compliment. Abso-frickin-lutely. I mean, that's what this country's all about. The free market. And sure, it's not perfect, but if you leave it alone, it sure as hell would fix itself better than any regulator can. I mean, yeah, some companies will go away. Some people will lose their jobs and some people will lose their money, but that's just basic capitalism. Let me ask you a question. Who developed America? Was it the regulators, the SEC, or is it the Mellons, the Rockefellers? Tell me what they did bad. I mean, sure, Rockefeller exploited some people in the copper fields, maybe shot a few of them.
Okay, fine, not perfect, but who benefited? Standard Oil is still here, so is Mellon's Bank. What I'm saying is, how many charities were started by these people? How many museums, theaters, national parks are here for us to enjoy because of these robber barons? These were the giants who built our cities, who built this country. Listen, unless you have losers, you can't have winners. 1 second, I gotta take this. Yeah. Okay. Give me 5 minutes. Yeah, okay. Listen, I gotta cut this short. I gotta get back on the phone before the markets close overseas. Everyone works long hours these days. Kid wants to get a job, he's gotta be willing to put in the long hours. He's also gotta be willing to outsmart the regulators and make a profit. It's easy. Christ. If you can outsmart one little government staff, you shouldn't be allowed to come to work in the morning. You know, I should teach them. I should pass along my knowledge, my experience, my values.
Good morning, Hernando. How are you? Good morning, Selena. I missed you. In your heart, you may have a certain dislike for a certain child, but you force yourself to say, "Good morning, Manuel. How are you?" Well, someone forgot to take his Ritalin this morning. My name is Rose Hoffman. I teach 3rd grade. At 9:15, we start with multiplication. I have tables fun written on the board. You don't just say tables, you say tables fun. Everything has to be fun, fun, fun. I tell my kids, hey, Mrs. Hoffman is here. Everyone is working. Working is a blessing. In the old days, I had 18 to 20 students who would stay with me until the very end of the day. Now I have 37 students. They come in and they play on their phones and then they leave to go to computer lab and art therapy. Oh yes, I have seen great changes since I began teaching in 1977. January 1st, 1977. Back then, the majority of my students were Polish. I loved the Polish people. They were just hard workers.
My classroom was always a showcase. In those days, we did it ourselves. With colorful pictures and charts on the wall. A snowman in winter and a pumpkin in fall. And all my supplies were in neat little piles on the shelves. My children were always respectful. When the principal came, they would rise. If I had to leave for a minute or two, they always found something constructive to do. And everyone sat in their places according to size. But kids don't know how to behave anymore. Ask them to rise and they'll ask you, what for? We confiscate weapons and drugs at the door. No spitballs and comic books now. They want me to teach in a classroom like that, but nobody tells me how.
Back then we actually taught English. Not English as a second language. I can't believe that English is a second language. When my parents came over, they didn't learn Jewish as a first language at the taxpayers' expense. There wasn't ever a problem with focus, with discipline. Of course, back then we had the paddle. Oh yes, I'm a big believer in corporal punishment. It builds respect and trust.
I make a big thing about spelling, but they learned by the time I was through. They copied the words till they knew them by heart. 10 times for the dumb ones, but twice for the smart. And gold stars were given to those who made sentences too. But why bother teaching them spelling today, when nobody knows how to read anyway? How can you spell what you can't even say? It's say habla español now. The way I've been teaching for 40-some years is no longer effective, or so it appears. But damn it, it worked for me then, so what's wrong with it now? They say I'm supposed to keep up with the times, but nobody ever tells me how.
There is one student in all my years that stays in my mind. My favorite. She wasn't very bright, but she was never any trouble. I see her every once in a while. She's no trouble now either. She just has this smile that she wears for everyone.
My first 2 months I started flying, I had already been to New York, London, and Paris, which is pretty huge when you're from Kankakee, Illinois. But after the first few months, you start to realize it's not quite as glamorous as you thought it was going to be. Sometimes people are just nasty. I mean, they're harassed by security and then handed off to us, and your shining personality only gets you so far. We get scared sometimes, too. I mean, I've never been so scared that I couldn't get on the plane, but there's been a couple times where there's been something funny at takeoff. One time, I was working first class, and we had a load full of passengers, and the captain tells me we're going to have to make an emergency landing in Chicago because we lost a pin out of the nose gear. When we land, the nose gear is going to collapse. So he wants me to prepare the whole cabin, but not for another 2 hours. And also not to tell the other flight attendants because they're new and would get all excited. So I had to keep this in me for 2 hours. And I'm sitting there thinking, am I gonna die today? And this one guy keeps bothering me because his omelet was too cold. I wanted to go up to him and say, don't you worry, sir. You won't have to worry about your freaking omelet. When I first told my parents I was getting into airline, they were so excited. My mom especially. She thought it was great that I had the ambition, the nerve to go out and do stuff in the city. Really? I just wanted to get out of Kankakee.
If you want to have a thrill, there's no comparison. Not even to a jet plane. Oh, the minute you climb into that steel truck and go out there on the Dan Ryan Expressway. Oh, when you climb into that truck, you forget about the wife and kids you just kissed goodbye. And the adrenaline starts pumping.
Breaking number 9, big buddy, put your ears on for me now. Big trucker gotta have a big life. So come on, brother trucker, you gotta come back, mother. Keep seeing double as I close one eye. I got to roll, 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 brother trucker. Sure enough ashamed about the shape I'm in. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on my wheels again. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Outward bound from South Bend. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on my wheels again. Running out of whites. Gotta dim those headlights. 4 hours sleep in the last new night. But I'm gonna be alright. I got to roll, 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 brother trucker. You say where and I say where. I say roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on my wheels again. I got to roll, 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 brother brother trucker.
Back it on up and do it again. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on my wheels again. You're gone for a week, 2 weeks, delivering a load from one port to another. Your only companionship is your own thoughts. And you don't want to get stuck thinking about your problems at home, so you turn up the radio. If you can play it loud enough to hear it over the engine. Yeah, we truckers fantasize something tremendous. You start thinking about that girl behind that voice. Yeah, you build up something in your mind until you begin to believe it. Moon over New Jersey, big state police. I'm in a hurry. Won't you let me go in peace? I'm independent. I ain't got no teams to do. Cause the AFL and the CIO, they still don't own the road. And the only man telling me where to go is the man who owns the road. He says, roll, 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 brother trucker. I say where and you say when. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on my wheels again. I say, roll, 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 brother trucker. Back it on up and do it again. Roll, 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 brother trucker. I'm back on my wheels again. I'm back on my wheels again. Roll, 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 brother trucker, back it up and do it again. Roll, 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 brother trucker, back on my wheels again. Back on my wheels again. Coming home to a wife can be sort of a drag. She has to take care of the kids, fight off the bill collectors. She can't even rely on her husband to come to graduation or communion. And when you do get home, you're so tired you'd rather be sleeping than going out on a Saturday night. I'll make 2 round trips to Evansville within 4 blocks of my house. And don't go. Easier to just keep on going. So you call your wife to tell her you won't be coming back. Hey, honey. Hello? Effing phone companies.
Verizon Tech Support, this is Janie. How may I help you?
Yeah, I'm trying to reach this number and I have like 5 bars.
I'm sorry you're having trouble, sir. May I have the number you're calling?
Yeah, 219-765-5910.
I'm sorry, sir. All the circuits in your area are
Jeez,
busy.
what are you saying? I can't understand. Oh, what's wrong with you guys?
I'm sorry, sir. Why don't you wait 5 minutes and then place your call? Again. You'd think they'd be grateful to get a live person instead of a computer. Sometimes you really want to talk to them if they sound upset. For me, it's a temptation to say, gee, what's the matter? But you can't say more than, I'm sorry you were having trouble. If you get caught talking to a customer, that's 1 mark against you. 3 marks and you're... One woman said to me, Operator, I'm lonesome. Will you talk to me? I said, gee, I can't. But you can't. I'm a communications person, and I can't communicate.
So I've always thought of a receptionist as the loser at the front desk taking phone messages. Now I'm one. So of course, I had to change my opinion. She had to be special, right? Because I'm so special. I was fine until we had this office party. I'd be having a fairly intelligent conversation with somebody when they'd ask me what I did. When I'd say, I'm a receptionist, they'd make an excuse and walk away. So now I come up with other names for what I do. Communications control, entry management. I'm
It's
tired
strange,
at the end of the day.
but you get tired of
Tired
talking.
of talking.
My mouth gets
There
tired
isn't
because
a
I'm talking
10-minute
6
break in
hours
the
straight
day
without a
that's
10-minute
quiet.
break.
You can't
You
think.
can't think about it.
What I do all day
Everybody's
is
in a hurry to
say
talk
what I
to
have to say
someone,
as quickly as
but
possible
never talk to
and
you.
switch the call to whoever it's going
You're
to.
in a room. The size
I
of
notice people have
gymnasium,
asked me to
surrounded
slow
by
down when I'm
thousands of
talking.
people talking to other people thousands of miles away.
I never listen in on phone
Do
conversations.
I listen in on phone conversations? Some people really
But let me tell
do.
you, some
Especially
people
if you're working
really
late
do.
at night. Some people on
I
the
once
line are
worked for
so
AT&T
absurd. You're
and
sitting
all
there
the girls
laughing
listen
until
in on
there's
phone
tears rolling down
conversations.
your face.
I don't care who you are. If you work nights and it's real quiet,
It
you're
really
gonna listen
makes
in
the
on a
night
phone
go
conversation.
faster.
Sometimes to make the day go faster, I'll do drawings, Mondrian sort of things. Never people. I pretend I'm alone and things are quiet. I call it the land of no phone.
I
never
never answer the phone at home.
Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. No, thank you. My husband gets a paper at the office and I read it online. No, I don't have an office. I don't work. I work. Of course I work. It's just, I don't have a job. Anyway, thanks for the offer. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I guess in my Mother's Day they would have called me a housewife. That's funny. It's not like I sit around watching soap operas all day. I have a lot of work to do. You just want something more exciting to talk about at a dinner party, you know? You know, something that matters. What I do only matters to 3 people.
All I am is just a housewife, nothing special, nothing great. What I do is kind of boring. If you'd rather, it can wait. All I am is someone's mother. All I am is someone's wife. All of which seems unimportant. All it is just my life. Do the laundry, wash the dishes, take the dog out, clean the house, shop for groceries, look for specials. Got it sound so Mickey Mouse. Drop the kids off, pick the shirts up, try to lose weight, try again. Keep the troops fed, pick their things up, lose your patience, count to 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All I am is just a housewife, just a housewife, nothing great. What I do is out of fashion, what I feel is out of date. All I am is someone's mother. Right away I'm not too bright. What I do is unfulfilling, so the TV talk shows tell me every night. I don't mean to complain at all, but they make you feel like you're 2 feet tall and you're just a wife, just a housewife. All they say are the pots and pans and the Pepsi cans of a person's life. You're a whiz if you go to work, but you're just a jerk if you say you are just a housewife. People say that they think it's fine if the choice is mine, but you know they don't. What I do, what I choose to do, may be dumb to you, but it's not to me. Is it dumb that they need me there? Is it dumb to care as I do, you see? And I mean, did you ever think, please stop and think what a job it was? Doing all the things that a housewife does. I'm afraid it's unimpressive. All I am is someone's mother. Nothing special. What I do is unexciting. Kind of. Take the kids here, take the kids there. I don't mean to complain at all. All I am is busy. Every day. All I am is like my mother. All I am is just a housewife.
UPS!
You don't just jump up behind someone and scream.
Sorry.
It's all right. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. You have to make excitement for yourself, you know? Where is he? Where is he? I've been bit once already by a Doberman. Biggest part of a dog's day when the UPS man comes. So, when nobody's looking, you kick him down the street. And even if he just follows you, well, you get him for the one you missed a couple houses back. Biggest subject of conversation with us. Dogs. And women. You got a nice looking babe, it kind of brightens your day. We got a code that we put into the system. Q, that stands for cutie. Now you got a sweet little honey laying out in a two-piece bathing suit. She'll be lying on her stomach with the top strap undone. You go over there, and you scare her good enough. She jumps up, Oh, it gives us something to do. It adds excitement to the day. UPS!
I knew I didn't want to become a housewife like my mother and sister. Somehow, I always knew I wanted more out of life. When I was 15, I was sitting in this coffee shop when a friend came by and said, "Yo, hurry up, I got this cab waiting. You can make $500 in 20 minutes. We went up to this penthouse. The guy up there was quite well known. He wanted to watch two women do it. And then he wanted to have sex with me. It was barely sex. He finished almost by the time we started. And it was a tremendous kick. I mean, there I was, doing nothing, feeling nothing. And in 20 minutes, I was going to walk out of there with $500 in my pocket. Just out of curiosity, how many people do you know make $500 in 20 minutes? And I was just in high school.
I consider myself an upper-class working girl. The press call me a socialite, which is just another name for a well-dressed fundraiser. To me, fundraising is like candy. You get to talk with fascinating people and promote the causes you love. What could be more delicious than that? I began in the 80s. I gave a party in Washington, D.C. for Nicaraguan refugee children. It wasn't for the Contras, although I'm sure that would have been fun too. But fundraising is work. It's hard to separate people from their money. There's finesse to approaching a potential donor. I never bring up money when I first meet someone. It's not like it's a secret. I mean, they know why I'm there. But sometimes I like to see just how long I can go before I ask for a gift. Call me a tease.
It's a marketplace transaction. Somehow I managed to absorb that when I was quite young. I was a precocious kid. Actually, I was, sort of lonely. I didn't experience myself as being attractive. I mean, I didn't look like a Calvin Klein ad, but I was bright and I didn't play by the rules. Most guys were scared of me. They didn't want to get involved emotionally, but they did want to have sex. For a while, I was willing to accept that. It was feeling intimacy, feeling warm, feeling.
other day, I was in New York in a limousine, driving during a hotel strike. And I thought to myself, now I know what it's like to be a bag lady. I mean, it's not like you can bring home every homeless person with you. But if you can say something entertaining, you bring a light into their eyes. Maybe that's what the word social light means.
You become your job. I've become a hustler. Even when I'm not hustling, I'm a hustler. What you do is what you are. I don't think it's so terribly different from somebody who works on the assembly line 40 hours a week and comes home cut off numb. People aren't built to switch on and off like water faucets.
I work in a luggage factory. We make suitcases. The tank I work at is 6 foot deep, 8 foot square. In 40 seconds, you have to take the wet felt out of the felter, put the blanket on to draw out the excess moisture, wait 2-3 seconds, take the blanket off, pick the wet piece up and balance it on your shoulder, reach over, grab the hose, spray the inside of this copper screen, turn around to the hot dry dye behind you, take the hot piece off and put it on the floor, put the wet piece on the hot dry dye, press this button, inspect the piece we just took off, stack it, count it, 40 seconds. The tanks run 24 hours a day. I work 8 straight hours with 2 10-minute breaks and a 20-minute break for lunch. I find it difficult to eat my lunch in that length of time. 40 seconds.
Granddad was a sailor, and he blew in off the water. My father was a farmer, and I his only daughter. I took up with a no-good male working man from Massachusetts, who died from too much whiskey and leaves me these 3 faces to feed. Mill work ain't easy, mill work ain't hard. Mill work most often is a goddamn awful boring job, and I'm waiting for a daydream to take me through the morning and put me in my coffee break so I can have my sandwich and remember it's me and my machine for the rest of the morning, for the rest of the afternoon, and the rest of my life.
They can't keep men on the tanks. They think it's too monotonous. I think women adjust better to monotony than men do because their minds are used to doing 2 things at once, where a man can only think of 1 thing at a time. A woman can listen to her child while she's doing something else. It's the same thing on the tanks. You get to be automatic in what you're doing, and your mind is doing something else.
My mind begins to wander to my days back on the farm, and I can see my father smiling at me, swinging on his arm, and I can hear my granddad's stories of the storms out on Lake Erie, vessels and cargoes, fortunes and sailors' lives were lost.
It's my life has been wasted, and I have been a fool to let this manufacturer use my body for a tool.
I get to ride home in the evenings, staring at my hands, swearing by my sorrow that a young girl understands. chest.
Stand up.
And may I work this mill just as long as I am able. Never meet the man whose name is on the label. It's me and my machine for the rest of the morning, for the rest of the afternoon, gone, and the rest of my life.
You wish you didn't have to work in a factory, but when it's all you know how to do, it's what you do.
An organizer is someone who brings in new members. You try to build an organization that will give people the power to make the changes. I put together a fairly solid organization of rural people from Pike County to stop Bethlehem Steel from strip mining. I had to tell people again and again that they have the stuff to do the job, that it's possible to win. You see, most people in their guts don't really believe it. Nobody believed we could stop Bethlehem Steel. But see, all that the people in Pike County really wanted was a park. Just a place for their kids. In Bethlehem, Bethlehem said, "Go to hell, we're not gonna give you a damn thing." So I got 20, 30 people together I saw as leaders and I said, "Let's get that park." They said, "We can't." I said, "Yes, we can." So we got enough people together, we wrote letters, we protested until we finally got on TV, and Bethlehem caved. A couple months later, 4,000 people from Pike County drove in to watch bulldozers grading down the land to build that park. You see, people become convinced there's not a damn thing they can do. I think we have it inside us to change things. I mean, all human recorded history is about what, 5,000 years old? How many people from that time have made an overwhelming difference? 20? 30? You see, the problem with history is that it's written by college professors about great men. But that's not what history is. History's a hell of a lot of little people, men and women just like you and me, getting together and deciding they want a better life.
If I could have been what I could have been, I could have been something.
I wanted to be a writer.
A Major League Baseball player.
Own a little farm.
If what I could be had been left to me, I would have been something.
But then I got married. Then the kids came along.
And then my dad took sick.
A tower of strength, a center of power. At $10 an hour.
There's always a stumbling block. I was gonna work for a few years, save up, buy me a car, and head west. Well, then I met the wife. That changed my plans a bit. You never know what you woulda did.
If I could have done what I could have done, I could have done big things. With some luck to do what I wanted to do, I would have done big things.
Swam a few rivers,
Climbed a few hills.
Paid all my bills.
Now it's just dreams that I'm stuck with, and hell, that ain't a lot to show.
Having gone far from the starting line, but deep down inside where it counts, I know
I know that if I
could have gone
places.
I would have gone far
with
away.
leeway to go. Far as I could go, I would have gone places.
I could have gone far
to
away.
the line, the top of the tier, a long way from here.
I could have.
Way back then, I had ambition.
Way back
Line off
then.
stamina and guts.
Way
I
back
never took
then.
no for an answer. It was tougher to fight all those ifs, ands, or buts.
All those ifs, ands, or buts. What if I could have been what I could have been? I could have been something special. If my destiny had been left to me, I would have been something. If they had just let me go, I was raring to go. When I was raring to go, if they had just let me go, God only knows, God only knows.
What I could have been.
Could have been something.
What I could have been.
I could have been
The top of the tier.
someone.
I could have gone
Could have been someone. What I could have been. Something. I could have been. I could have been someone.
The last hour is the hardest. You sit there with half a mind and one eye on the clock.
All I'm thinking about now is getting home, taking off my uniform.
A cold can of beer.
When that whistle blows, you got a lot of guys who want to sit around and talk. I just want to get out of here.
It's a pretty good day laying stone. You get interested in what you're doing, and you usually fight the clock the other way. You're not looking for quitting. You're wondering you haven't got enough done and it's almost quitting time. There's not a house in this country I haven't built that I don't look at every time I go by. And if there's one stone crooked, I still notice it. The people that lives there might not notice it, but I notice it. Stone's my business. Stone's my life.
He builds a house with his hands. 30 years go by, it stands. It stands where nothing stood. A house of stone. The mason sleeps real good. He does his workday flies. Quitting time's a big surprise. And then it's one more stone to get just right. It's always one more stone before the night. Every house he builds, every stone he lays, it's not just making money and counting off the days.
I daydream all the time about stone. Someday I'm gonna build me a stone cabin down in the Green River. I'm gonna build stone cabinets in the kitchen. Everything's stone. A stone front door. That's gonna be very heavy. All my dreams, seems like they gotta have a piece of rock mixed up in them.
He builds a house with his hands. 100 years go by, it stands. It tells you who he was. Life goes fast, but the work a mason does, it's made to last. The work a mason does.
There's nothing on this earth gonna last forever. But with stone,
it's made
you're getting pretty close.
To last.
I can't relax.
'Cause when you ask a guy who's 58 years old, what does a press agent do? You forced me to look back and see what a fakakta life I've had. My hopes, my dreams. What did I do with them? What being a press agent does to you. What did I end up with? A room full of clippings and a case of colitis. But you know what I think my biggest problem was? Is the inability to say no. The insistence on being part of everything. The fear that you're going to miss something. You know, one psychiatrist told me, a guy with one ass can't ride two horses. Being a press agent is a confession of weakness. It's for people who don't have the guts to go out and get the attention for themselves. I mean, you spend your whole life telling the world how great somebody else is. And in this business, you don't build anything. If I had a little mom and pop candy store, and I built it up into a bigger store, I might have sold it for $1 million. Who do I sell my clippings to?
Good evening, my lords. Something interesting at the bar that I can offer? It would be very boring if I had to say, would you like a cocktail? Over and over. So, I come out with something different every time, just to entertain myself. I say, good evening, my lords. Something interesting at the bar that I can offer? Or something. Maybe with cocktails, I give him a little philosophy. With coffee, I give him political science. I have an opinion on just about everything there is. But my bosses, they don't like it so much. So I have to speak sotto voce. But if I get heated, I don't give a damn. I am an Italian, and I speak like an Italian speaks. And I have to be a waitress. I mean, how else will the world come to me? People want food. They have hunger, and I serve them. I give service. I can't be servile. There's a difference. It's intoxicating when I give service. It becomes theatrical, and I feel like the Mata Hari. It's intoxicating. And I feel like I'm on stage.
There's some as don't care when they put down the plate. There's a sound, not with me. When they move a chair, it'll scrape with a grate on the ground, not with me. I will have my hand right when I place a glass. Notice how I stand right as customers pass. Serve a demi-tasse with a gesture so gentle, or do it again till it's near oriental. Da 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 da. It's an art to be a fine waitress, to see that you pleasure each guest. There's a twist to my wrist when I bring you steak in, and watch how I take in your liver and bacon. It all will be stylish and smart. That's what makes it an art. I remember one day, as I do now and then, I had shakes. Down I went. There with my tray full of coffees and cordials and cakes. Down I went. But I kept my poise, not one guest heard me fall. Never made a noise, not one noise, food and all. If you have to crawl, you give them what they like. You carry your tray like it's almost ballet-like. La da 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 da. It's an art to be a fine waitress. Each evening I treasure the test. Like tonight, was a fight, 'cause they hired this busboy, this clothes all a must boy, and guests heard him cuss boy. Did we have a quick heart to heart? Even that is an art. Tips, tips are important to people like captains and barmen. For them, it's a tipsy. For me, I'm a gypsy. Just toss me a coin and I suddenly feel like I'm Carmen. So worn through the ulcer, the backache, the hot, sweaty feet. On you go. Through is your knife dull, sir, and madam wants what with her meat? On you go. 2 a.m. approaches, the curtains descend. There among the roaches, my axe at an end. Every night I tend to find myself crying. There's no work so trying or so satisfying.
I tell everyone I'm a waitress, and I'm proud. And when people say, "Hey, you're terrific, why are you just a waitress?" I say, "Why? Don't you think you deserve to be served by me?"
It's an art to be a great waitress, to go without leisure or rest. So I zoom through the room with a flair no one else has in air, no one else has, I swear. No one else has my lilt when I say a la carte. Can't you see it gives me a glow? Every time I prove I'm a pro. Maybe I'm not quite Michelangelo, but I'm not just a waitress. I'm a one-woman show.
Change please, come on please lady, let's go.
After 16 years on the job, I went to Hawaii for 2 weeks with my lover. And my eldest daughter said, "Mom, act your age." And I said, "Oh, honey, if I act my age after 16 years on this job, I wouldn't be walking."
I worked for them 16 years. And overnight, they let half of us go. It's now known as Black Thursday. They told us to clear out, leave. That's all. No goodbyes. One guy broke down and cried right there. What am I going to do? I did such a great job. Please don't do this to me. My daughter is getting married next month. How am I going to face people? All of a sudden, nobody calls. You go out. You start visiting friends, but they're too busy with their own work. They don't have time for you. This is a psychological... I don't want to get into it.
It was a year ago November, and I'm still looking. But you just gotta fight your own way, which I've done my whole life.
Don't get me wrong. In this economy, I'm lucky to have any work at all, but I just... After all these years, I wish I knew what it was like to not have to go to work.
When I retired, for the first 2 years I was downhearted. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Then I gave myself a good going over. "Joe," I said, You can't just sit at home like that and waste your time. You gotta get out there. Do things. Well, the day moves pretty fast for me now. I don't daydream at all. I just think of something and then I forget it. That daydreaming, it don't do you no good. You gotta keep moving, keep going. That's the trick.
You wake at 10, fold up the bed. You don't want to leave your couch open all day. You know it's depressing. You cook an egg. You toast some bread. You cook for yourself, you save a bundle. If you don't keep track of your money, who will? You think about the day ahead. You don't go feeling sorry for yourself. It's like I said, you can sit home and be mad at the world, or you can get out and do things. You take a walk, you meet a chum. This one guy lives down by National Biscuit. Boy, you should see the nice aroma. You shoot the bull, you argue some, and maybe he calls up a couple of other fellas to come play some poker. You lose at gin until they come. This guy remembers what cards you picked. The dirty bum, but even getting beat at gym beats doing nothing. You take a bus, you take a train, you go visit your wife's grave. On the way you read the Reader's Digest. It does you good to use your brain, or maybe you go out and see your cousin, you bring a six-pack along. You take a stroll down memory lane. When we were young, we was always together. And raising Cain, we go back a long ways, him and me. Oh, the times we had. I remember once, back in 62, we were at this fair with these girls we knew on this crazy ride where you screamed or you prayed. The Big Dipper, we called it. We could hardly walk as we left the car, so we staggered down for a candy bar. Then we sat and laughed in the penny arcade. At 6 o'clock, you watch the news. Them politicians get you so mad you throw your slippers at the set. You cook some Franks, no big to-dos. Most nights you lay around, straighten up, maybe call your daughter. You watch a game, you take a snooze, but then there's Sunday. Sunday's different. You change your shirt and shine your shoes, cause you're going around the block to the tavern. You shoot some pool, you drink some beer. You don't have to drink a lot to have a good time, maybe 3-4 in the evening. You find a pal, you bend his ear. You meet a lot of your old crowd there sometimes a bunch of you sing. The kind of song you never hear, like Stardust or In the Mood. And then you cheer. Last Sunday night we sang Till We Meet Again, believe it or not. I once did a waltz to that tune. Honest to God. It was at a dance, I was 17, and the girl was like from a magazine. And my lights were low, and I really mean low. I think a couple of my friends had something to do with that. And I kissed her cheek, and we waltzed away. I remember that like it's yesterday. Boy, was she surprised. I can hear her say, Joe. They drive you home from round the block. You take your cash out of your sock. You fix the bed, you check the lock. You wind the clock.
When I retired, a lot of people told me, Joe, you got your health. Why did you do it? Well, it's too late now. I don't know why I did it. It's a habit, I guess. But I keep busy. I keep traveling. I go see fires every once in a while. That fire we had on Milwaukee Avenue, I was there 3 months ago. You know, you can see the smoke coming out of there, heavy as hell, but you don't see no flames, right? Boy, was that some fire.
You go in there and it's dark. Smoke is pouring out of the whole damn building. It all happens really fast. I feel this intense heat to my left. I turn around, the whole room is orange, yellow. I can just see the orange and feel the heat. Lieutenant and the other firemen, they got the ladder up. They saved 2 people, but downstairs there was a guy trying to get out the door. He had bolts on the door. He was burnt dead. You know what the lead man said?
We lost a guy, damn it. We lost a guy.
You saved 2 people. How would you know there's a guy sleeping on the pool table?
Yeah, but we lost a guy.
I always wanted to be a fireman. A lot of guys want to be firemen. It's like kids. Everybody's still a kid. Even guys 40 years old still feel like kids on the inside, except they're losing their hair and they don't screw so much. I used to be a cop. You know why I switched to fireman? I like people. And sometimes when I was a cop, I could just feel the hate coming into me. I remember this one time I was walking down an alley. There's this big guy down a ways, about 6'7". He had his back to me. I said, "Hey, fella, turn around a minute." He said, yeah, wait a minute. He's moving his arms around his belt. I said, "Turn around a sec." It dawns on me, he's got a gun in his belt and he's trying to get it out. I said, "Holy crap." So I took my gun out. I said, "Don't move, I'm going to shoot." He throws his hands up on the wall. Turns out he was taking a leak. He's trying to zip up his fly, which I couldn't see. Maybe a lot of guys would have killed him. I said, "My God, I could have killed you." And he started shaking, and the gun in my hand was shaking. And I said, "Just get the hell out of here." So I took the fireman's test in 98, got called in 99. And the world's messed up and the country's messed up, but the firemen, you actually see them produced. You see them put out a fire. You see them come out with babies in their hands. You see them give mouth to a guy who's dying. You can't get around that. That's real. I worked in a bank once, you know. It's just paper, just looking at numbers. It's not real. But I can look back and say, I saved somebody. I helped put out a fire. Somebody could be born. Somebody could grow old because of me. It shows something I did in this world.
He had a very good day today. We went down to the senior center just a mile away. Some days he only wants to stay at home, but on Tuesdays they play music and they dance. You should have seen him dance. They were playing Spanish music. He's a ham, he likes to make the nurses smile. Some days he can't remember who I am. Today, he was lucid for a little while. Through it all, I take his pulse, I change his clothes. Where are his children? Heaven knows. It doesn't pay much, but I get through. Because I do the work that no one else will do.
She had a very good day today. We went to a nearby park where she likes to play. She's only 5, but she can do it all. sing each night. And I sing Mahakita, Mina Mahakita, Milhamna Mahakita, till she's asleep. She says, I love you, and I love her too. Will I do all the work her mother doesn't do?
I have a family of my own.
I have a daughter back at home.
I send whatever I can
With no
spare.
one singing her to sleep.
And sometimes I close my eyes and imagine I am there. Duérmete,
Mahakita,
duérmete,
Namahakita,
hasta la madrugada, duérmete.
Mahakita,
Had a very good day today.
Namahakita,
We went down to the swim center, just a mile away. One day my dreams are gonna all come true. For now I do what no one wants to do. For now I do what no one wants to do.
You know what I've always wanted to do? Play the piano. That's what I really wanted. I'd write songs and things about growing up in the South, my mama and my grandmama. But now I've got my beautiful daughter, and I've got plans for her. So I leave this house every morning to go scrubbing floors at the Marriott. Then at night, I come down to this office and it's scrubbing again. For generations, that's all we've done, scrubbing. But my daughter, she ain't gonna do no domestic work. I plan to be the end of that particular line. Mama worked just like her mama before her. Domestic working was their trade. They was laundress, cook, and live-in help. Thursday girl, babysitter, and hotel maid. They worked 6 days a week, all day long, and never could get out of debt. Those were the days when the minimum wage was anything you could get. They was cleaning women without faces. They was coming and going on a first name basis. You're talking to somebody who knows. Somebody who knows. And after too many years, Lord, I don't wanna be in no more laundry room. Oh, no. I don't wanna pick up near another broom one of these days. One of these days. Just wanna sleep until noon. All day long I'm thinking my kids out in the street somewhere, but the folks up in their rooms don't think you thinking half the time. Always talking around you like you ain't even there. It's getting so it do something to my mind. Something to my mind, Got a daughter with a head on her shoulders and pretty as a picture too. No, she ain't gonna hide that pretty face behind closed doors. Scrubbing floors like her mama do. If my legs don't give out and my back holds up, I'm gonna make her a better day. Oh, one of these days. You'll never see her get down on her knees unless she's down there to pray. No more cleaning women without faces. No, no. She's gonna walk in on a miss last name basis. She'll be the first in the family. She'll be the first in this family to have a face you can see, Lord. She ain't gonna be stuck inside no laundry room. Whoa, and when she's sleeping, she'll be pushing her own broom. Someday may never come when she can sleep till noon, but long as she can get up singing her own tune for me that day, Lord, for me that day. come from 4 generations of cleaning women. But my daughter, she's a whole new generation. And that's what we got coming today. A whole new generation.
My name is Ralph Werner. I'm 19 years old. I ran this mutual fund for students in my school. My father actually runs an investment firm himself. He runs a hedge fund, you know? Those are the guys who are always getting caught defrauding their investors. I learned ethics in school, so I'm sure I won't have a problem. I'll be going to business school, Kellogg, naturally. What I really want to be is a professional golfer, but realistically, I'll probably be an entrepreneur. And then I'll start a family, of course. My quote-unquote dream girl, she'll have long brunette hair, and she wouldn't have to wear a lot of makeup because she's going to be naturally pretty. And I want her to have a lot of personality, because when we turn 30 and we're climbing up the ladder, there's going to have to be a lot more than looks. And she'll work until we have our first child. Then she'll stay home, and she'll be a good mother. I wish to have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. We'll all live in a colonial house, maybe even leaning on Mediterranean style. Maybe it can be backed up on a golf course, so my wife and I can play golf whenever we want. I hope my wife can play golf.
My name is Charlie. I'll be 20 in 3 weeks. See, I got recommended for this job in a newsroom at a Chicago paper. I went down to the paper, talked to the editor, told him how much I wanted to be a journalist. He liked me. I had a tie on. See, coming to work for me was kind of a missionary kind of thing. I was bringing in organic walnuts and organic raisins and just giving them out to everybody. See, at this stage of the game, I was in a very spiritualistic mood. I was enjoying my work because I was mostly answering phones. People would call and complain or have a problem, and I'd say, this is a capitalist newspaper, and as long as it's a capitalist newspaper, it's not going to serve you because its purpose is to make money for its owners. And I'd tell people to call up the editor or come down and take over the paper. A lot of people responded really well to these suggestions, but the editor, he calls me into his office and is like, blah, 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 and I just wanted to take a baseball bat and smash his head in. I mean, he's a great guy. I like him a lot. I don't know if I would get any pleasure from shooting him up with a .50 caliber machine gun and watching his body explode into pieces. But my fantasy all spring at the paper was getting a gun and shooting them. Or getting a gun and walking into the editor's office and saying, "How do you face your death?" I'd been thinking for a few months, what will I do when I get fired? I had to do something that says, hey, I'm better than you people. I'm getting fired because I'm different. I had to think fast, so I said, I hope you can live with the conditions you've created. And then I turned around and walked out the door and started to cry. And the editor, he hurries after me and says, wait a minute, I'm not creating these conditions, you are. And I said, no, 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 I'm not the one with the power, you're the one with the power. And now I've got myself on unemployment. They were nice to me the first few times, and then this woman told me to get a number, and I wanted to say, piss off! I can wait outside your apartment and knock you over the head and steal your money! But that's bitterness. I don't like being bitter. I'm a pacifist.
I heard a lot of songs say, where you going, my son? Now I know they're true. Boy, you never stop to think how fast the years run. Now they're taking you. I remember you was 3.5. Your mommy, we'd sit there after things got quieted. We'd laugh at some new word you said, how tough you were to get to bed, and we'd plan the night away, planning for our kid. I was your hero then. I couldn't do no wrong as far as you were concerned. You thought I was the best of men. The tables hadn't turned. You hadn't learned how little time it takes, and daddies make mistakes. Seems to me that lately I've been thinking a lot. I think about my dad. Lots of funny things come back, thought I'd forgot. Now they make me sad. High school and it used to be, I didn't want him touching me, and I'd shudder if he did. Further back to summer nights, baseball games beneath the lights, and sleeping in the car, my daddy and his kid. He was my hero then. He couldn't do no wrong as far as I was concerned. I thought he was the wisest and strongest and the best of men. The tables hadn't turned. I hadn't learned how little time it takes, and everybody breaks, and daddies make mistakes.
This may sound square, but my kid is my imprint. You know what I mean? Whenever I see a young, smart guy walking by dressed real sharp, I'm looking at my kid. You know what I want? I want my kid to tell me that he's not gonna be like me. I want him to look at me and say, "Dad, you're a nice guy, but you're a freaking dummy." Hell yeah! If you can't improve yourself, you improve your posterity. Otherwise, life isn't worth nothing. You might as well go back to the cave and stay there. And I'm sure the first caveman who went over the hill to see what was on the other side, well, I don't think he went there wholly out of curiosity. I think he went there to get his son out of the cave.
I heard a lot of songs say, "Where you going, my son?"
Where you go?
Now I know they're real. Boy, you never stop to think how fast the years run. All the things they steal. Now it seems I always knew why I do the things I do and the things I never did.
I do the things I do.
Why I work my whole damn life so I could give a better life than the one my dad could give me. I give it to my kid.
You think about a piece of work, even, let's say, Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, this beautiful work of art. But what if he had to create the Sistine Chapel 1,000 times a year? Don't you think that would dull even Michelangelo's mind?
See, it's not just the work. Somebody built the pyramids.
The pyramids, the Sears Tower. These things don't just happen.
I don't care how little you did. You drive down a road and you say, I worked on this road.
If there's a bridge, you say, I worked on this bridge.
I think that if a carpenter builds a cabin for poets, then the poet owes the carpenter a little plaque. Just 3 or 4 lines on the wall.
Though we labor with our minds, this place we can relax in was built by somebody who can work with their hands.
Picasso can point to a painting.
A writer could point to a book.
Everybody should have something to point to.
You know what I'd like? I'd like to see a building, say, the Sears Tower. I'd like to see on one side of it a foot-wide strip from top to bottom, with all the names of every person who's ever worked in or on that building. That way, when a guy walks by, he can take his kid and say,
See that building.
I was the one who did the design.
I was the one who drafted the plans.
Every detail and every line.
See that building. I ran the crane that lifted the beam.
I was the guy who worked up above.
Every detail and every line. See that building.
Look out my door, it hangs in the frame.
See that building.
40 flights up, I scratch my name.
See that building. I'm on the staff, I work as a guard.
I clean the floors, I clean them good. People don't know my job is hard.
See that building.
5 days a week I work at a desk.
I do the books.
I handle the mail.
9 on the dot, I punch my cards.
See that window.
Up by the ledge.
10 from the top. See that window.
Count from the left.
1, 2, 3, stop.
That's where I work.
Everyone should have something to point to, something to be proud of.
Look what I did.
See what I've done.
I did the job.
I was the one.
Everyone should have something to point to, some way to be tall in the crowd. See that building, day after day after day after day. That's where I put myself on the line. That's where I sweat to earn my pay. See that building.
That's where I put the food on our plates.
That's where I live the peace of my life. Where I can bring my kids and say, see that building.
The lumber was cut, the decisions I made. See that building. The windows are locked, the service is late. The memos are typed, the concrete was laid.
The records are kept, the office is run, the coffee is sold, the digging was done,
The building was built.